My daughter has a disability, and her teacher forced her to climb the rock wall in PE. Now my daughter Amanda has cerebral palsy. She is able to walk independently but cannot walk for long periods and cannot walk on anything other than even ground without assistance. She has an IEP that states what she can and cannot do in PE, excursions, etc. It's relevant to note that Amanda catches the bus home but can only catch a specific route as the school's other route drops her off at a road about a mile away with no footpath. I got a call at work at 11 a.m. today telling me that Amanda had spoken quite rudely to a substitute PE gym teacher who tried to make her climb the rock wall that her school has. Amanda did say, "I can't, I have cerebral palsy, and I have an IEP," but when another child said, "Yeah, same here," the teacher didn't believe her and became insistent, standing over her, so Amanda told him to fug off and wouldn't repeat anything but fug off until she was sent to the office. The handbook states that this type of offense is same day after school detention, but when the principal called me, I said absolutely not. I told them they were welcome to do a week's worth of lunch detentions or even schedule it so that I could change my work schedule, but not this afternoon. My husband is away for work. I have to work until 6 p.m., and I need Amanda to be on her regular bus because I have nobody who can drop her off at home at 4:30 when detention finishes. They told me about the late bus and I reminded them why Amanda couldn't take that bus and was told, "Well, sounds like a natural consequence to me. This isn't your average kid refusing to do something, being rude, or deserving a long walk home or detention. This is a kid that could be seriously harmed if she was made to walk that far and on that road." The principal told me that I was making excuses and that Amanda needed to face consequences and I didn't technically need to give permission. They were making me aware. I agree that Amanda needs to face consequences for her language, which are that she's grounded for the weekend and has to serve any lunch detention the school gives her and apologize to the teacher for specifically her language, nothing else, but putting her in danger is not right, and that if they were insistent on this, I was insistent on taking my lunch break right now to drive over and pull her out for the rest of the day. Edit to update. I have since ungrounded Amanda apologized and told her that I acted irrationally out of stress and anger at the school in the situation. I also told her it was up to her regarding the apology. Update. I talked to Amanda and apologized again for the grounding. We had a big talk about the language she used and I told her that unfortunately, ableism is something she's going to have to handle for the rest of her life. I told her that at 13, I don't expect her to have the words and articulation of an adult, but we can't just walk around saying fug off or fug you to every jerk in our lives. It makes it a lot harder for situations to be taken seriously and something to be done about it if someone also has to discipline her for inappropriate language or verbal abuse. She has agreed to start a new school next semester if this situation isn't resolved, and also wrote a letter to the principal apologizing for the language she used and explained that she was feeling embarrassed and called out in a whole host of emotions which made her feel like she shut down. She also wrote in the letter her own plans to do better, also known as, not to swear and use real words, and if that doesn't work, she will leave class and go to the SPED room for help. She honestly amazes me. I told her she was not required to write this letter and that I understood her emotions and lack of preparedness, seeing as this was the first real situation she was not believed about her limitations. Still, she told me she wanted to grow and do this in an adult way for the future. I told her that if they try to make her do lunch detention on Friday, she should ask them to call me because I didn't want her to do a detention until after our meeting on Monday, which brings me to the next part. On Friday morning, before I went to work, I sent the principal an email going over our phone call and asking him to confirm that both the situation with Amanda in class and our phone call straight after, and his horrible natural consequences reaction, did in fact happen. I spelled it out as plainly as possible, including things such as the regular PE teacher not leaving a note about Amanda, the sub not having any knowledge of a student with disabilities in their class, causing a safety risk, etc. I also included that this had happened previously with a sub and that I was promised change, which didn't happen. At the end of the email, I reiterated that Amanda was never to be given an after-school detention without my permission and was to be on her regular bus with no problems. I also emailed this to the SPED coordinator and asked for an IEP meeting to update this and to also update about an additional plan for PE when there is a sub. The principal emailed me back and confirmed everything, even reminding me that this was a private school, that a normal child would have been suspended for their behavior, and that they had applied special circumstances because of Amanda's disabilities, like they were doing me a favor. I ended up calling work on my way in and asking to be replaced as soon as possible so I could sort this out. I worked 2 hours before another girl showed up to replace me and did 2 things. I called the local public high school and was able to have a tour/meeting to see if it would be possible for Amanda to start there after the holidays. I filled them in on the situation, and they told me about all their policies regarding special needs students and accommodations. This school is multi-level, but they assured me it would be no drama moving the classes Amanda would go into to a lower level, because we do it all the time. We have about 10 other kids that require this accommodation as well. They also said they have a policy that even though they give a sub their class lists for the day, which highlights any students that have an IEP, allergies, etc., they also email the SPED unit on which students are affected that day and the SPED coordinator goes and checks on them just to make sure all is good. I was amazed. I'm bringing Amanda back on Tuesday. Monday is a public holiday here, for her tour, and she'll start next semester. I then went to Amanda's current school and asked to see the principal. Surprisingly, he let me into his office and asked if I was there to discuss how to handle this. I asked him if it was possible to get the sub into this meeting, but he was in class. Anyway, I asked him to walk me through the entire situation and stopped him at every possible moment to interject and ask every single question on my mind, like, so why did your school neglect my daughter and put her at physical risk by not providing her IEP to the sub? Has the child who lied about having a disability been punished? His answer: I'm not legally allowed to tell you that, and so on and so forth. He tried to say that there should be no need for the sub to have the IF as it should be clear Amanda had a disability, and I was like, maybe, name, needs to go to Specsavers then. He tried to bring it back to Amanda's language. I firmly said we had spoken about it and asked if he had gotten Amanda's letter. He said yes, and I said, excellent, so there should be no need for her to face unnecessary punishment, and I don't have to ring the Department of Education and put in a neglect complaint. He then suggested that maybe their school wasn't the right fit for Amanda's limitations and that she needed more help than they could give and suggested a local special needs school for severely disabled children. My head almost blew off, from the steam coming from my ears, but I calmly stood up and stated that Amanda would be attending, public school name. I said I wanted all her records sent over by the end of the week. I also said that Amanda would not be back and that today, also known as yesterday, was her last day. I emailed him, and the SPED coordinator, to restate that I wanted Amanda's records sent over and thank the coordinator for everything she's done for Amanda. Amanda is excited to start her new school and loves that it has a choir and a glee club that she can check out and join if she would like. Update 2. I took Amanda on a tour of the public high school today. She loved it. They introduced her to the special ED teachers, the music teachers, and even a few kids, both mainstream and special ED, that they thought she'd get along with. She's super excited to start, and the school has said that she can start as soon as I've filled out the forms and, as soon as the other school sends over her file. I have decided to report the school as soon as I get her files from them. It seemed easy for you all to say to me in my posts, but I don't know why it took my brain so long to go, yes, I need to do this. I talked to Amanda about it in the car, and I said that I understood she did not want this to be a big thing but we needed to make a report and let the necessary parties investigate so that they don't try and pull this stunt with the next disabled child they have in their care. What if the next child isn't as strong as Amanda and simply does as they're told and hurts themselves? When I hand in the forms to the public school, they can call the private school and request Amanda's file, grades, etc., with much more power and demand faster access than I can. In the meantime, I'm dropping Amanda off at a friend, her old babysitter, who has just had surgery and could use some company to veg out on the couch and watch TV. Amanda loves her, so it's a win-win, but the private school ends on Friday for a mid-year break, so if she's still stuck at home next week, he'll keep her entertained, and I'll give them money to go to the shops or movies or whatnot. But yeah, that's all I have for you until most likely the end of the week.